Barack Obama officially became America's first black president in January 2009 at his inauguration.
So help you God?
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Afterward, The Atlantic's Ta-Nehisi Coates rose to prominence, earning a reputation as one of America's best writers on race. He won an award for his essay, Fear of a Black President and the Case for Reparations.
His 2015 book, Between the World and Me, explored what it means to be black in America. It topped the New York Times bestseller list and won Coates the National Book Award for nonfiction. He's got a new book. It's called We Were 8 Years in Power, An American Tragedy. It features essays analyzing the Obama presidency and the rise of President Trump. Ta-Nehisi Coates is a recipient of the prestigious MacArthur Fellowship, she's trying to say. Welcome back to the table, Mr. Coates.
Thanks for having me back.
So let's start with this, because you say you never in your lifetime thought that you would see a black president in office. And you also say in 2008, many people thought that Barack Obama could not be president. In 2016, many people thought Donald Trump could not be president. Yet you believe the two are connected. How? The two presidencies are connected.
Well, I'll just say I belong to both camps, by the way. So I should be out of the prediction business by now. I don't think Donald Trump's presidency is literally possible without the response, I should say, to Barack Obama, not so much Barack Obama himself. And I don't mean that in a particularly symbolic way. His political career actually begins in birtherism. Regrettably, birtherism had a high degree of purchase in the opposition party, in Barack Obama's opposition party during his presidency. Upwards of, majorities, pluralities, however you want to have it, of Republicans believed that he was not a legitimate president. I think Donald Trump had the wisdom, if you want to call it that, to see that, that was not, some fringe movement, that it actually could be the basis of launching a successful political career, which he did.
So you think, in part, the vote for Donald Trump was, in part, if not a significant part, a vote against Barack Obama?
Yeah, and I think it was a kind of revanchist, and I would emphasize in part, too.
Right.
An important part, but in part. I think it was a kind of revanchism, against this idea, against the very symbolism of having a black man, lead the country. And to some extent, we should expect this. We have a very, very long and regrettable history in this country of racism and white supremacy. The expectation that with the election of a black man to the White House, that would somehow disappear, that we would no longer have to grapple with that some important percentage of this country wouldn't be grappling with, I think is a bit naive. And
Subtitle of your book is called An American Tragedy. The tragedy is that it served as a lever to introduce and allow Donald Trump to succeed.
Yeah, and not just succeed. I mean, had Donald Trump come in...
Succeed to the presidency.
Yes. But had he even, come into the presidency and, as people said, I guess shifted and become presidential, maybe the subtitle would be a little different. But instead, you cut on your TV and you see a president going into, a region of this country that has just been hit by a natural disaster and lofting paper towels into the audience. You see a president conducting policy via tweet. That's a problem.
As soon as you say that, Ta-Nehisi, at the same time, you have General Mattis suggesting that we should stay in the Iran deal. You have people saying we should stay in the Paris Accord. They have not been able to repeal Obamacare yet. So a lot of the things that he stood for, fought for, that are hallmarks of his success, have been resistant so far.
Right, but
it's not a tragedy.
Yeah, that doesn't give me much comfort, though, because that's what he's tried. I don't think it's because of. I don't credit Trump with the fact that Obamacare hasn't been repealed yet. I don't believe we're in the Paris Climate Accords anymore. I might have missed, something there, but I don't think we are. I know, the Iran deal hasn't been repealed yet, but I don't take much confidence. I don't credit Trump for that.
It's more cultural too, isn't it?
That's part of it. Yeah, that's part of it.
One of the criticisms that President Trump is receiving now is that he's not in the campaign trail mode anymore, and yet he does, in some people's opinion, seem to cater to only his own voters and his group of supporters. President Obama was criticized by some by saying that while he may have been president for everyone, he wasn't doing enough for the African American community. So can you square the two? And looking back, do you think President Obama made some missteps with regards to the African American community, now seeing what President Trump's being accused of doing?
Yeah, I think black people in this country make up, I believe, 14% of the population. Trump, let's start off with the fact
13%,
yeah, Trump's base is a lot bigger, and so the number of people, the sheer number of voters that, that he could consider his base and get away with appealing is a lot larger than Barack Obama's. I think that imposes, some degree of power. Obama always had to find some way to somehow represent the community he came from and speak to a broader country at the same time. Now there were people like me who, were somewhat frustrated, with some of those attempts and how that came out, but I was never unaware of what that meant and what that conflict meant and how special of a person, frankly, you had to be to walk both lines like that.
You were
This
being
really
called-
is. This really is an homage to Barack Obama.
The book?
Yes,
I wouldn't say that.
a lot of it is.
I wouldn't go that far.
You feel strongly about him.
I do.
You've also called him to task, too.
I have, yes. That's why I wouldn't say it's an homage, That's part of it. I certainly have, credited him for certain things. I think he was an extraordinary individual. I was not, always a fan of, how he addressed African Americans, and how he talked to the community.
But can I just say this about you? You're being called one of America's best writers on race. And then I heard you gagged when you heard that.
I'm gagging right now.
Okay. Would you prefer to be called the black public intellectual? Do you like that better?
No.
What would you like?
Yes.
I'd like one day to be the best writer in America, bar none.
Period.
Bar none, yes. I have no problem with being black. I actually have no problem with being a black writer. I take great pride in that. But I think when people say things like you're the best writer on race, it's to pretend as though I'm not in competition with any other writer.
Well, I think we can all agree you are on the path to being one of the
I'll
best
take
writers
that.
in
I'll
America.
take that.
Ta-Nehisi Coates,
all
thank
agree
you
on
so
that.
much.
Thanks for having me.
Congratulations. on
See,
the
we
book.
all agree on that. Yeah, that's right.
Well, we were 8 years in power, an American tragedy is available now.